Our project demonstrates the use of interoperability to optimize resource allocation across flood disaster timeline. During flood disasters, field responders like firefighters and FEMA teams need to go from door to door and rescue people, sometimes for weeks. The tropical cyclone Harvey in August 2017 resulted in $125 billion in damage, over 100 fatalities, flooded hundreds of thousands of homes, and prompted more than 17,000 rescues. Many different pieces of information exist to prepare for and assist response operations, like storm tracks and rainfall forecasts from NOAA, ECMWF, as well as observations from many satellites and from the field. These forecasts and observations can be put into large-scale river flow models that predict flood waves down the big rivers, like here using University of Maryland's Global Flood Monitoring System and the National Water Model. Or moving along the event timeline using a custom high-resolution 2D inundation model during Harvey to predict flood depth in every patch of land. The International Disaster Charter can be activated while the disaster is unfolding to bring satellites to the location and record imagery for immediate production of flood maps.
Those flood maps will be used by disaster relief agencies. Therefore it helps the community. It helps the community when there is a flood for disaster managers to understand where is the flood occurring.
However, all these different types of valuable information are difficult to assemble in one common place. But OGC interoperable standards allow the many datasets to be pulled into mobile apps and onto open geospatial platforms. OGC data sharing standard and protocol allow pulling diverse data into user-friendly analytics systems like GeoPlatform. Such platforms allow the retrieval of actionable information requests across the disaster timeline, like rainfall data on top of population density information and flood depth forecasts, followed by actual observations of flooding from satellites. These can then be efficiently distributed to individual rescuers that can then execute decisions at the house scale. And bring people out of harm's way before moving on to the next home in need. So this is to illustrate you what the previous video was showing. All the data you saw in the previous video, we actually did put in a mobile app. It's freely available on the App Store and on Google Play. So it's called DFO-Floods. Here's an example of the recent Chad flooding in early September 2020. The red you see is the current flooding. The blue, for example, is more the 2-week accumulating water. You can also add other WMSs from ECMWF, for example, the forecast precinct. And then there's also population. Here we also have then the ability to actually go offline. So let's say you're in the field and then suddenly you have no connection anymore. So you can download then your maps and you can reload them when you're in the field without connection. This was actually something that end users really love to see. We did go a long way to get this working. Technically it was a challenge. We had to work with ASRI around some of their licensing, so this was possible. So this app includes absolutely no license, and here it shows you, for example, it's calculating now the amount of data I want to download, and then it says just confirm download. And you would download it onto your phone, and later you can easily upload it again when you're offline. So another great thing we did, we noted that a lot of users were wanting to give us feedback via email, so we included a direct feedback button into the app where users can actually tell us what they think. So coming back to the challenges, one of the greatest challenges we had was actually to know what kind of scientific data users wanted to see. So several years ago we were holding a user workshop in Boulder, at the DFO itself to find out what users wanted. So there were a couple of things. For example, they wanted a dynamic legend, which is not very easy to integrate, but we did it here. This app is now freely available. It's the second version available online, fully free, and please do use it and tell us what you think. Thank you very much.